In most parts of the world, a missing cat just means they wandered a little too far from home. But here in Vietnam, a missing pet means they have likely just been violently snatched by a highly organized, highly lucrative crime ring. Today we're looking inside the raid that finally exposed the terrifying machine to the world. Recently, the Ho Chi Minh City Criminal Police Department executed a raid across Ho Chi Minh City and the neighboring Tây Ninh province. Their target was an inter-provincial pet theft and trafficking ring that had been operating continuously across southern Vietnam for the past 3 years. What they found at the scene were 45 cages containing approximately 400 live cats. In the same facility, they also found 4 foam boxes packed with ice and, sadly, which held the bodies of about 80 deceased cats waiting to be transported for consumption. Through police interrogation, we learned exactly how this ring operated. The suspects confessed that they would trap cats and transport them to these temporary gathering facilities. They functioned as a stockpiling center. The cats were crammed into these small cages and deprived of food and water for days, which led to severe exhaustion, dehydration, and cross-infections. They were held in these conditions for how long? Until the thieves accumulated enough animals to make a bulk sale to wholesale meat traders. According to investigators, these bulk transactions were happening every 2-3 days. Now, hearing about those 400 cats were saved, you probably feel a huge sign of relief. But for me, this raid was just a tiny scratch on the surface of a massive, unstoppable machine. Every single year in Vietnam, an estimated 5 million dogs and 1 million cats are stolen, trafficked, and killed. That is 6 million animals annually. And you're probably watching this wondering, how on earth does a crime ring this massive just operate out in the open? I mean, it took the police 3 years to finally bring this out to light, but apparently, pet crime wasn't started only 3 years ago. It breaks my heart to say this, but it all comes down to a devastating legal paradox. In Vietnam, and also still in some other sea countries, consuming dog and cat meat is completely legal. Now, technically speaking, the law requires meat sellers to provide paperwork providing the exact legal origin of every single animal. The 2015 veterinary law of quarantine of animals. But on the ground, that rule is entirely ignored. And what makes this so incredibly infuriating is that Vietnamese people, or at least with people who have pets, don't even want this. A survey dated back in 2021, I know it's 6 years ago, showed that 91% of citizens want the trade banned and 95% saying eating dogs and cats absolutely does not reflect their cultural values anymore. And I believe this number could be higher by now. The trade and slaughter of dogs and cats is an issue that negatively affects the image of Vietnamese tourism in the eyes of international friends. Now let's talk about the way thieves actually pull it off. The methods are brutal. They usually strike in regular neighborhoods. If they are hunting cats, they use spring traps. If they are after dogs, it's even more aggressive. They use poison bait for mouse, stun guns, or heavy iron tongs to snatch them right off the street or out of their front yards. Once your pet is snatched, the clock is ticking fast. They don't just sell them individually right away. They transport the animals to hidden, temporary holding camps like the one we just mentioned earlier. They cram these stolen pets into tiny cages and basically stockpile them for 2 to 3 days. Why, you're asking? Because they wait until they have accumulated enough animals to make a massive, profitable bulk sale to wholesale meat traders. But here's the sickest part. In the eyes of these thieves, not all pets are created equal. To them, your best friend is just a walking price tag. In their lucky day, if they snatch a fancy, expensive pedigree breed, they might have a better chance. Instead of the meat market, they'll hold the pet hostage and demand a massive cash ransom from the devastated owners. It is a highly organized, highly cruel machine, and once your pet gets sucked into it, you have roughly 48 hours before they are gone forever. And funny thing here is in Vietnam, they don't normally think about putting up their pet's picture on the street or on electric pole when their pets are missing. They know the first thing is that to find the cat at the holding camps across the city. And that brings us to the most agonizing part. Pet owners in Vietnam are basically helpless. When you are up against a ruthless, incredibly lucrative black market, there's almost nothing that an average person could do to prevent this from happening. But let's say your pets get lucky. Let's say they somehow don't fall into the hands of the meat traders. Even then, the chances of finding them back are incredibly slim. Here in Vietnam, we have a massive population of stray cats. They naturally hide out in empty lots or wild grass fields because it's their instinct to seek out quiet, safe spaces. Because strays are everywhere, and if an everyday person sees a cat wandering down the street, they don't think twice about it. It may be a stray, maybe not. Even if it isn't, how can I possibly help them? Where can I help find any places possible for them? There is no official government organization or official animal control to hand them over to. For us pet owners, our only lifeline is turning to spontaneous, grassroots charity groups, hoping that they can help bring the pets home. In a place like this, having a pet collar or an air tag on your cat isn't just a precaution. It is literally a matter of survival. And for the best, just keep your animals at a closed property. Watching to this point, you probably think, well, just go to the police. But it's not that simple. In Vietnam, pets are legally considered property. Most people buy their dogs and cats from local shops or traders that don't give out official certificates that identify your pets. So if your cat is stolen, you usually have absolutely no legal proof of ownership to show the authorities. And on top of that, trying to track down the holding camps yourself is genuinely dangerous because of how absolutely ruthless these thieves can be. They will demand a big ransom. This is such a nightmare, especially if you're just a student. Take this one case from early February of 2026 that completely blew up online in Vietnam. A holding camp in Hanoi demanded 6 million dong. That's about 230 US dollars, just to let a girl take her cat home. They literally threatened to film themselves butchering her pet and send her the video if she didn't pay. They didn't care at all that this young owner was begging them because she simply didn't have the cash. And let me put into perspective just how massive $230 is for a graduating university student here. A typical starting salary is only around 400 to 450 bucks a month. These criminals were demanding more than half of the average monthly income just to keep people's best friend alive. This everyday hopelessness is exactly why we need to look at the 400 cat rescue differently. That rate wasn't the system working normally. It was a total anomaly. But amidst all that darkness, there was real tangible hope. Thanks to the incredible dedication of the police, the Saigon Zoo staff with their meticulously work, and the network of nearly 100 volunteer vets working day and night, roughly 40 to 50 families experienced the impossible. There are tears of joy for they actually got to bring their best friends home. Even though these cats still have a long road to recovery ahead from their psychological stress and physical trauma, tragically, some cats still even passed away from the horrific abuse they endured before the rescue. It shows us that somehow a shift, even just small, it's happening right now. The fight against this multi-million-dollar black market is far from over. If you live in Vietnam, keep your pets close, lock your gates, use an AirTag, and stay vigilant. Because until the law change, protecting them is entirely in your hands. Thank you guys so much for watching and diving into this heavy topic with me. Share this video to spread awareness about what is really happening in pet trade in Vietnam. Stay safe, give your pets a huge hug, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye!